Hey,
Hi.
everybody! Happy Saturday!
What's up, guys?
I was just about to say it's the last Saturday before Christmas, but it's not.
No, it's not. That would be
Next
Christmas
Saturday.
Eve.
Next Saturday is the last Saturday before Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Are you guys having a good day? A good weekend?
I see Troy, and I see Michael, and I see Finally 39, and JJ Mitchell, and Roman, and ENJE.
What's up, guys?
And Matthew and Sumner. What's happening? We got a lot of snow today.
Well, overnight, yeah.
And in the morning, too. It's coming down pretty heavy.
It was a lot to shovel. And it was
Hey,
pain in the butt.
Sheena.
Hello.
Yeah, G-Bombs, Hanley.
Wait, what was that? I feel like I missed it.
G-Bombs? Greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, nuts.
Wow, you usually don't remember all of them.
I'm getting good. Oh, babies.
Hi, babies.
Oh, thank you, Roman. We are enigmas wrapped in mysteries, and we are up to enjoying our new ink. I'm so excited.
You shouldn't have that under that paper towel for so long.
Why?
Because you shouldn't block it like that. It's supposed to breathe. Yeah.
I'm cold, though.
Too bad. I've been wearing this damn t-shirt all day.
All right, let me take my jacket off. Let me unleash the guns.
I
Wow.
really enjoyed Star Wars, and I've only seen 2 of the movies so far. So, like, if you're not up to date on them, you'll still totally enjoy it.
How many Star Wars would you give it?
I don't know. That's a good question. I'm not good at rating things on a number basis, but I have to say, the first 2/3 were like pretty good, but then the last third was like, what? It was crazy. It was insane.
Yeah, Alan Thicke. I can't believe that.
Yeah, that's sad. I didn't realize that he wrote so many theme songs. I didn't know he was like a music guy. Matthew made vegan brownies today, and they came out great. That's awesome.
I love hearing that.
Oh, thanks, Sumner.
Oh, thank you. I haven't been able to make it to the post office today because of the snow. I was planning on going, but I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Adam won Survival.
And Sheena.
Chance's mom got him a Love to Learn Elmo.
Yay!
Early Christmas.
I hope you're having fun with it.
Oh. Hey, Broccoli and fries for dinner. Sounds delish.
Gotta balance things out.
What? Hanley was walking in Times Square by some large dude yelling at a mannequin window display.
What?
Okay.
That sounds very New York.
Yeah. Uh-oh, Rob's having a bad weekend. Freezing rain last night, and he fell on the ice. Oh, no.
I hope you're okay.
Oh, no, and he might have re-injured his right wrist that he had the surgery on.
Ooh.
That sucks. I hope you feel better.
Yeah.
Ricky Malik playing Freddie Mercury.
That's Mr. Mercury.
I mean,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think that'll be good. He's a good actor.
I really would have liked to have seen Sacha Baron Cohen, though. I thought he would have done a great job.
That fell through.
I know. I'm not upset that Adam won.
I was happy for him.
I would have been happy with anybody, except for Brett. I would have loved to have seen David win.
Or Hannah. I think Hannah would have been a good winner, too.
I ordered Sean's already, Chance, but he's not getting his before Christmas. He's going to have to wait. You're
Sean,
pretty lucky that you got yours
bit?
early. Yeah, Sumner's going home for Christmas.
That's exciting.
Back to old Virginia. Yeah.
Did he? No, he didn't. I thought Pharrell did. I thought that was Pharrell. You're messing with me, Hanley.
Hannah and Zeke are dating.
But
Zeke's
likes
gay.
men.
Unless Hannah's got a penis, it's not going to work out. I almost fell tonight. I almost got freaking frostbite. My boots, which are actually slippers, got really wet before when we went shopping.
It's been so cold.
And my toe froze, and I was like, "Daddy, get me home." And he's like, "No, I'm putting the heat on your feet." And I'm like, "No, I need to get home.
Okay.
I need to get out of the car." Ooh, Hawaii cruise, nice,
I want
Sheena.
to go to Hawaii so badly.
Oh no, Romero
Oh,
slipped on the
no.
ice and fell down cement stairs. I hope you're okay. Hannah is the most right-swiped female first name. Right-swiped is bad, right?
I
That's
thought it
like,
was good.
ow.
I thought right was good.
I don't know. I don't do Tinder.
No, we were messing around with my friend's Tinder last night.
Oh, really? Again?
No, Lara's.
Oh, okay.
Mike was going crazy on that phone.
Oh, my
It was
God.
hilarious.
Super Mario Run for iPhone? No, I didn't. I'm not a big, like, video game
I don't play
person.
a lot of games on my phone.
What? No, I do brain games.
But I
like,
love Super Mario.
I love Super Mario, too. Watching from London.
Yay!
Hi, Papa D.
London.
This
It must be
is
like-
Nottingham.
It's like 3 a.m. right now?
Yeah, 4 maybe.
3, 5 hours, right?
I don't know what the
I believe
daylight
it's
savings
5.
time one is.
It's 5, and then when it's different, it's 4.
Do I ship Ken and Hannah? No. Tampa, 79 on Christmas Day. That's pretty sweet.
Oh, I want that.
I don't know what it's going to be here.
I want that!
I hate black ice too.
Whoa! You got like a whole group of Elmos just hanging out. That's
Sean
great.
does too. Sean has a whole
I know.
population of a whole village. It takes a whole village of Elmos to raise Sean, apparently.
And Snoopy's.
Yeah. Paul for Survivor? What? You mean
What?
Paul from Big Brother? Or-
No way.
That would be amazing if they could. Yeah, Louie!
Hello, Louie.
Oh, thank you,
Oh,
Roman.
thanks. I like
love
that
our
it's
tree.
like a hodgepodge. You know, like some people
Look.
do. Yes. You
Look,
know,
kids,
some
Big
people
Ben.
do the same ornaments.
Yeah, no, I'm not for that.
I like having all different ornaments.
I'm not for that. Yeah, QC lost today. That was a shame.
Yeah.
Hey, Norma Jean.
Hello.
What? $9.99? I'm definitely not getting it.
Hmm.
Hello, Callie.
Hello.
Siri says it's 3:09 a.m. You must be in the UK. Oh, in London. 3:09.
Yeah.
You were right. Yeah, Casey Affleck.
Affleck.
Affleck. Oh, my poor stomach.
She's all gurgly.
My stomach's a little oogie tonight. Did we... Harry Styles in the new trailer? I didn't see it.
I did see that trailer last night. It looks crazy. Excuse
He's in
me.
a movie?
It's like a war movie. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you're lucky you didn't hit your head. That because my friend's mom fell down some concrete steps in her garage and hit her head, and she fractured her skull.
That's crazy.
Shut up, stomach.
Just got home from work at 3 in the morning.
no.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Was it closing time? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Get out. Oh, you got a real tree? I can't really get a real tree because I'm allergic to pine.
It makes me sad to cut down a tree.
That too. Hey, Tasha.
Hello. I've heard really good things
Manchester by
about
the
that.
Sea.
I've
Who's the
also-
guy who's in that?
I don't know.
I
Is it Moonlight? That's supposed to be really good too.
I don't know. Oh, you have an uncomfortable mattress?
No.
That sucks. I had a tough time falling asleep last night because I was so excited for today.
Really? Because you blamed it on me earlier.
That too.
I'm so tired, but I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to sleep tonight because I'm going to be so
You're
paranoid about
overtired?
this. I'm
Oh,
going to be like,
why?
because I don't want anything touching it.
It's really not a big deal. It shouldn't even like be that much raised anymore.
Yours is not filled in the way mine is, and I'm a psycho about it.
Don't be a bleeder.
I put on way too much Aquaphor. It's too much.
What are you most excited for in Survivor Game Changers? And thank you very much, Lady Di. Merry
Thank
Christmas
you.
to
Merry
you guys
Christmas.
too.
I don't know. I have to look at the whole cast because I only saw a part of it. So, well, I think I saw the whole thing a while back, but I don't remember who's going to be on.
We don't like scary movies.
No.
The new song, All Time Low. It's amazing. No.
I'm not familiar with that.
Yes, America's Next Top Model is back, but we haven't seen it yet. Sean, really? Dial it down. Definitely excited for Survivor 34. I love an all-star Survivor season.
What's Clay sing?
There's always tomorrow to make your dreams come true.
Is that the words? I don't think so.
I thought it was. Every time Sean asks that,
For dreams to come true.
whatever, I sing it and he's just like, it's so
He
cute.
makes the Clarice and Rudolph kiss all the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, what's a kiss? No one knows that we got a tattoo. We just announced it just now.
We had tacos for dinner.
Should we show the tats now?
Go ahead.
Well, I can't like, can I?
Mine's gonna be upside down.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, Mike said that he really likes yours, by the way.
Oh, he does?
Mhm.
Nice. Can we just turn this a little bit for them? This is, oops, sorry, I just poked you. This is Cat, and this is Fox. This is Mark, and this is me.
Ah!
Angry.
What'd you get?
I got a Gene Kelly. It's upside down right now.
Oh,
Yay!
yeah. Shall I show? Why don't you just show the Shroud of Turin, Gene Kelly?
Oh yeah, I didn't see the picture that you took.
Oh. Real World Bad Blood. One of the roommates finds out she got pregnant prior to coming on the show.
Oh shit!
Yeah, Demi. Oh my god, guys. Tyra's not on the show anymore. Who's the
It might
host?
be yet. Is it like Rita Ora or something?
Oh, maybe, yeah. The tattoos didn't hurt too bad.
I didn't even cry, which was surprising.
Yeah. Nocturnal Animals. I want to see that so
I heard it was
bad.
amazing.
Thank you, Louie. Are they making a heart? No, not really.
They're holding hands.
They're just
They're holding paws.
yeah.
It's my favorite movie.
It is supposedly a painful area, but he said you wouldn't feel pain that much, and he was right.
I think just because like I'm not really that muscular there.
Yeah.
I think if I had bigger arms,
Mm-hmm.
it would really hurt.
Maddie's tattoo is a silhouette of Gene Kelly swinging on the lamppost.
Woo! Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, Moana. That was such a good
Make
movie.
way, make way. Moana from Motanu. The music is so good too. And no one leaves.
Yes, you've memorized all the songs already.
Some of them.
Yeah. Ashley Graham is a judge.
Oh, okay.
Amy Adams and Isla Fisher in the same
Oh, they're
movie.
both in that?
Wow.
They're like twinsies.
What does Amy Adams bring to the table?
Everything. Yeah, I don't think Michael Bublé's special is like,
Current?
yeah, I feel like they put together a bunch of stuff
Mm-hmm.
because he's with his son
Yeah.
right now.
Minnie! She's licking her feet because it probably has like stuff in them. the two roommates
What?
from Real World Skeletons had a baby after the show, but then the male roommate got his then ex-girlfriend pregnant after the first birth.
Wow.
That's a lot. What's Donna Martin graduates?
Isn't Donna Martin like? I don't know. It's from a TV show.
Happy birthday to your sister, Rob.
Yay!
21. Drink it up. Oh, they saw Trans-Siberian Orchestra.
Oh,
That
friend
looks
saw them the other day.
intense.
There's like pyrotechnics and like crazy
Ooh.
lights.
Isn't there like a million people like playing violins and stuff too?
No, it's like a rock group.
Oh, it is? I thought it had violins in it too. Like,
I think you're thinking of like Mandarin.
no.
I don't know.
Are we going to see Sing? Yes.
Absolutely.
Mhm. Thank you, Sarah.
Ooh, we should go to the movies on New Year's Eve.
No.
What about in the morning?
I don't know.
In the morning.
We'll see. Star Wars on New Year's Eve. Feliz Navidad. Hey, does anybody know the chords to Feliz Navidad?
No, but I can look them up.
All right. Yeah, F cancer. I don't know why they're bringing back Ozzy. I'm not happy about it.
Yeah, this is like his millionth time back.
Yay!
Is it there? Is it on?
I think it is.
Guys, let us know if you can see /hear.
Not Time Warner anymore. It's Spectrum now.
Sure.
I'm not entirely convinced it's the internet. I think it might be YouTube because I've seen other people who have had issues.
Yeah. Wait, but can somebody confirm? Can you hear us? Okay.
David!
Hello.
Andrew West, hello, I see you there. We're back. Welcome. Bienvenue. Come on in. Minnie is being so adorable right
She
now.
is. So I want to know from you guys,
I just touched it.
what are you most excited about for Christmas? What do you say?
I love to see the look on all of you guys' faces when you open your presents.
That's nice. I can't wait to see your face too. Because you don't know what
I don't know at all. Am I going to pee in my pants?
Maybe.
Will I at least squeal?
Yeah.
Okay. That's exciting then.
Mm-hmm.
Troy loves his new induction cooktop.
Nice. No, we're not going to be doing a show on Christmas Eve. Maybe next week we'll have to do
A Friday
a
or
Thursday.
a Thursday?
a Thursday,
Okay.
I would say.
Okay. Oh, you had Christmas today because your parents aren't going to be there on Christmas?
Oh.
Your babe's first Christmas. Oh, the Pentatonics Christmas special. I saw them last night on Jimmy Kimmel, and they were really good.
They're
yeah.
so good. Shawnee, it's too loud, bud.
What? J-Lo and Derek Hough?
I heard that rumor a long time ago, but he's dating the one from Dancing with the Stars. He's dating one of the troop girls.
Hello, Max. I do know who Trisha Paytas is. Yeah, she's unstable as far as I can tell. But I mean, she's got quite a colorful past, I would say. I think she was like a stripper.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. She decided she was going vegan for about 5 minutes, and then I don't know if she's vegan anymore. I don't know what's going on with her. It's okay, Andrew. You can be excited for your turkey. We won't meat shame you.
No. Yeah, Derek Hough is going to be on J-Lo's new dance show.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. A snow globe carved with best mom ever. Aw.
Wow.
That's nice.
That is nice. Yeah, when J-Lo says jump, you say how high. World of Dance.
Yes, sing.
Would we do a New Year's Eve live chat?
I don't think so.
I don't even know if you're going to be home.
Yeah, I'm not sure yet what my plans are. I went
Hello,
out last
Gregory.
year and it was fun, but I'm not sure what I'm doing.
Oh, you mean when your friend said I'm going to burn this place down?
Even if I do stay home, though, I really just like to chill on New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm. I really, really, really love to watch Kathy Griffin
And Anderson Cooper!
Anderson Cooper.
You know what would be really fun?
What? If we were there?
No, because it'd be cold and it's crowded and you can't
No,
leave
I mean
your spot.
hanging out with Anderson Cooper and Kathy Griffin.
Yeah. But when you go to that, you like can't leave your spot to go to the bathroom for hours.
You have to pee in a diaper.
That sucks. But anyway, imagine if it was Kathy, Anderson, and Andy Cohen together.
But what if it was Kathy, Anderson, Andy, and Billy?
Oh my God!
Right?
Yeah, that'd be everything.
My brain just exploded a little bit just even thinking about that.
That'd be everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Trisha's not vegan anymore, and neither is Shannon Rose. She did it for the wrong reasons. She was just trying to do it, I think, to lose weight.
Wrong reasons.
I bet
It's so cold.
I got a bigger butt than J-Lo. I won't bend over and show it to the world, though, on television.
Why not?
That's for me and for my husband alone. This idol is for me and for you, Hannah.
Oh, that was one of my favorite moments in the season. Oh, Andrew missed the tattoo reveal. Yeah.
You can't really see it too well. Wait.
Yeah.
That's better. Oh my god. You really can't appreciate the faces though. Wait. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
There. I love those little chuckle heads.
Yeah.
He really nailed the faces on those.
Yeah, the faces are super
Freaking
cute.
love that. Let's show yours.
Mine is this.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yay!
I'm singing in the rain, just singing in the rain. I'm singing in the rain. Sorry.
It's okay.
I'm a chicken nugget. I'm gay. I peed on my boyfriend and the 10,000 calorie challenge. Wow. Over 24 hours? Yeah, I think she probably needs to get some medical help. Hey, Gregory. A 24/7 Olympic sports channel?
Yeah, they're working on that.
Is the smudge there on purpose? What? Oh, the thing that you see is the smudge? You mean this thing? That's not a smudge. The fox is blowing a dandelion, you know, and you can't really tell. You have to see it in person.
Yeah.
It's not really a smudge.
No.
Yes, that is a real tattoo. It better be because we just paid hundreds of dollars for them. I asked Mark if he wanted a tat, and he said no.
It's not for everybody.
No.
Oh, David's dating a new guy. Yay!
Oh.
That's great.
The fox is holding a dandelion. She's blowing it. I just love that they're kind of like indifferent.
Yeah.
And if you see it in person, the fox kind of looks like Lucy with the turned up nose. So cute.
They're so sad. It's great.
They are so sad.
When we were looking at Lara's Tinder last night,
Oh no.
they were going through and being like, "Oh, this one is good for Lara. This one's good for Maddie." And then they were like, "Yeah, this one, he looks really sad. That's her type." I did know that Gene Kelly and Debbie Reynolds did not get along.
Gene Kelly would berate her, and she would go and sit under the piano, and then Fred Astaire would come over and say, "Can I help you?"
Oh my gosh.
Chris, go with
No,
you?
she's gonna go on a different day.
Yeah. Tramp stamp.
No. Who are we, Neve from Catfish?
I don't want to have it removed one day.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder wrote a song for Sing.
Oh wow. Survivor casts, I'm for that. We're gonna do a video when it gets closer, when they put up the bios and everything. Nobody wants to see a video like months before the show starts, because then you don't remember, you know, what we said. You know, when the show actually does come on.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Hooka.
We haven't seen Rob Sesternino's
No.
video, no. Joe Anglim's there. Would I date Ken? No offense to Ken, but I'm into like intellectual guys.
I'm sure he's smart and everything, but kind of not
Mm.
socially. He is pretty though.
Yeah.
Yes, and Maddie's tattoo is also real.
It is a real tattoo.
I agree, Hanley. I wish he could do that, because they're a lot. He's never happy.
Yes, I remember that switch between Liz and Julia.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, James wants some Liz, and she was like, "Who's that?"
James?
That was hilarious. Who's James?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Intense. Because he was a perfectionist.
Hmm.
And
Her feet were bleeding.
yeah, Debbie Reynolds had not really danced that much before that movie, so it was a lot of work for her.
Debbie Reynolds was a real character, and I freaking...
She still is.
Yeah. Yeah. I haven't seen her in a while, though. I freaking love her. When I was a kid, I would stay up all night watching old movies, and I remember her and Tammy, and she was so good. Beyonce, work. No. 7 years. That's Dee's favorite song.
Hmm.
And Stressed Out. I don't know that one, do I?
That's If We Could Turn Back Time.
Oh, okay.
Du-du-du-du-du-du.
Would you date Jay?
I don't know. I don't know these people, so I can't
Yeah.
really gauge if I would like them in real life.
We didn't wear the tiaras for the finale because Maddie didn't want to wear them.
I
That's
just feel
true.
like we can move on from it. I don't know. Like,
I don't.
we have
Why
to
do
that
you
forever?
need to move on?
I don't know.
Have fight or
No neck tattoos for you. No face tattoos.
Wasn't planning on it.
What if she got a Jesus on her face?
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ.
When we were, now this is the truth. When we were getting our tattoos, across from where we were sitting was like the whole walls full of like tattoos that you could get or things
Or
that people have
gotten.
drawn.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was a Jesus with the crown of thorns on, like this. And it was freaking me out the entire time.
I could see you staring at it, and I was this close to saying something, and I'm so glad that I didn't, because I thought that it was supposed to be like a funny Jesus.
No, there's no funny Jesus.
Because I thought he was going like, hey.
No. No, he was in pain. And I was thinking the whole time, Jesus is crying for me right now. There was very interesting photos and drawings and everything in that room. I hadn't been in that room before, and it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, Taran Killam is going to be in Hamilton as King.
Oh, really?
King George.
Oh, okay.
I can see that.
Hey, girl. Hey, Merry Christmas.
Do we like Michaela and Zeke on Survivor 34? Yes.
Mhm.
I hope that Michaela makes it further this time.
Yeah. Shawnee, come and say hi. Come and say hi, bud. You're such a good boy today.
what?
You must be on your best behavior because of Santa. Say hi.
Hi.
Uh,
The sauce.
What? Black China is kicking Rob Kardashian to the curb. I think it's going to take more than that. Wearing leather jackets, driving a Harley, and contemplating induction into the Hells Angels.
I think there's like a huge stereotype surrounding tattoos.
I know.
It doesn't automatically make you like a biker.
No.
Not that being a biker is a bad thing, but it's art on your body.
Yeah, it's a form of expression. I mean, my grandfather had tattoos, and he wasn't a bad person as far as I know. He didn't have a motorcycle.
Do you think you will get more tattoos?
I think this might be it for me. I really didn't want a lot. I just want some meaningful ones. I'm not looking to get sleeved out or anything. I mean, if something happens to me or whatever, and I want to commemorate it, with another tattoo, I would do that. But I'm not really thinking that I would want to get another one anytime soon. When I had the first one, I came home thinking, wow, I really want another one now. I mean, like the same day, I was like, wow, I'm already planning my next one.
Mm-hmm.
But after this one, I think I'm pretty satisfied with what I have. And I probably wouldn't get anything else.
I am going to get at least one more because I planned this as a set.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got Gene Kelly on this side, And I'm planning on getting in the same spot on this arm a Fred Astaire silhouette.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
Yeah. So that'll be happening
Perfect.
probably within the next year, I would say.
Yeah.
I have to plan it out with like my work schedule and stuff because
Yeah.
I don't want to get it. I don't want to get it during the summer because then you can't swim
Right.
for a while.
Right. Yeah, but you know, you might as well just wait like until the fall or whatever.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
Derek, we did not get your card yet. I haven't been
You gotta
to
go to the
the
PO box.
post office box yet since Wednesday or Thursday. Thank you for sending it though.
A celebrity face. I
Hey.
wouldn't get a face portrait.
It's our little lamb
Hi,
Bob.
Bob. We're still gonna be donating. We just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yes.
We will though.
Yeah, the only face that I would get possibly is David Bowie, like the
Oh.
shirt that you have on.
Yeah, like a minimalist.
But I wouldn't get a portrait.
A lad insane.
Yeah.
All right, we will let you know.
Was it someone we wanted to come back that didn't? Probably. I haven't really seen the full
we
cast.
haven't really we didn't really dive into the cast yet.
Mm-hmm. If we were on the next season of Survivor, I don't know, David. I can't think about Survivor right now. I think Sandra is gonna have a big target on her. Nobody wants to see her win third time except for her. But I think people may want to keep her around because she is a big target. She's a meat shield.
If she wins again, that would be insane.
That would be insane. Eating a certain amount of ice cream immediately after waking up can make you smarter.
What? I'm into that.
Really? Wow. Because I eat ice cream for breakfast. I eat an ice cream for breakfast sometimes. So
You must be really smart.
Out of the 11 SNL hosts so far this season, only 3 of them has hosted before. Emma Stone,
Interesting.
Tom Hanks, Kristen Wiig. Kristen, this wasn't her first.
No, she's hosted before. Yeah, somebody I know has like a little heart on the back of their ring finger, and it's really cute.
Mm-hmm.
Star Wars was really good. I went in with like no expectations, and I was
Whoa.
very entertained.
Aqualiz,
Hey,
what are you
girl,
doing
what's
here?
up?
DuckTales cast review?
No, I didn't know they were remaking.
Wow. Oh, Minnie is so tired. Do you think indecisive people should get a tattoo? No. No, I don't.
I think you should go in there confident.
Totally committed
Yeah.
and sure. Unless you want to look at something that you don't really want, possibly in the future, and be unhappy, or you don't mind the pain and expense of laser removal.
And it's expensive.
And painful.
Yeah. Remember Tom Sandoval with the bacon A on his
Remember Chris Lee's son?
Oh God,
Chase?
Good goldfish kiss.
Yeah.
Oh.
Kiss them, dear.
Yeah.
You're shocked that Taylor and Jessica voted for Adam to win? No, because I think they were really moved by
I thought he was a deserving
story
winner too.
and his gameplay.
Yeah. He played a good game. Oh, that's awesome, Bob.
Yeah, very good.
That is really cool.
Do you need to know anything about Star Wars before seeing Rogue One?
I've only seen 2 of the movies, and I think you'll understand it better if you've seen some of the movies or all of them. But you can see it with no knowledge of Star Wars and still
Did you
enjoy
just
it.
touch that too? You're like, is it still there?
I'm just making sure there's no like weird shit on it.
Like hair or
Yeah.
a lollipop or some crumbs.
Yeah.
Okay. Troy Zan. I don't think I liked him in his season. I can't remember now. I like Tarzan. He was pretty cool. The game is afoot.
I am terrified of needles too, but I didn't look at all while he was working on it, and it was okay.
It's not really like a needle. It's more like a Dremel.
I don't know. I don't want to think about it. It's done.
When they started my tattoo, all I could think of is my arm was a piece of wood and they were using a Dremel to cut out a shape. I was like,
Ah! I kind of thought of like liposuction too, when they like stick that
oh
tube
yeah.
in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of felt like
Mm-hmm.
what I would imagine that feels like.
Yeah, Tom Sandoval's hair is awful.
He's all Cruella de Vil this season. Well, I mean, I went into it wanting one on each arm, so like
Mhm.
I had already planned it that way.
Yeah, we're not the biggest fan of Lala.
I heard she's leaving the show to
Oh,
focus
really?
on her acting and singing career.
Oh, well, good luck.
No, I'm dying to see La La Land, but it's not,
not
playing
playing
in our
around
theater
here.
yet. Hopefully soon, because I need to see it.
Uh-oh, we have potty mouths today. We're full-grown adults. What'd you think of that music mix at the,
It's pretty crazy.
yeah, it was.
Pretty crazy. Some of it I was like, yeah, and some of it I was like, I'll pass on that.
All the F-bombs didn't really bother
No.
me. It was, we're all adults, right?
Yeah.
You want Sandra, then Aubrey, then Malcolm. I wouldn't mind seeing Malcolm win.
I don't think I saw Malcolm's original season.
Really?
I don't think so.
Maybe that was your senior
I
year or
missed
something.
quite a few seasons.
Yeah. Yeah, you missed like 8 seasons.
What?
You missed like 8 seasons.
Yeah. Was it 8?
Yeah. The tattoos, I don't think took all that long. It's the preparation and the placement and the paperwork and, that, if you include all that, they took about an hour each. A little bit less than an hour, like 45 minutes each, right?
Yeah.
Including all the
Yeah.
prep work and everything.
Yeah, the actual tattooing didn't take that long.
I mean, mine probably only took about 25 minutes, maybe.
Yeah, like the mountain.
And I think yours probably didn't take more than like 15, 20 minutes.
Really?
Yeah, it wasn't that long.
That's pretty fast.
It was pretty fast. I don't know about Ozzy's speech, but I want to see him again. Does Nicki Minaj have a tattoo?
I don't know. The live musical next year is Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh, is it really?
Bye Bye Birdie.
Oh, you're so good at that. We're so tired too. I did not sleep well at all last
I haven't
night.
slept well in the past 2 days,
Mhm.
and the shoveling this morning, and the like anticipation of the tattooing today.
Yeah.
I'm just exhausted.
Office Christmas Party looks hilarious.
It's pretty funny.
And TJ Miller was also on Jimmy Kimmel last night
Did
as
he
well.
just get in trouble for like punching someone or something?
Did he? He looks like a lot of.
TJ Miller's like that goofy
lot.
guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought he just got
He
in
was
trouble for something.
in Deadpool.
Yes. He was like my favorite part of Deadpool.
Yeah. Plain ass pasta. Yeah. Olive Garden for the first time last week. Wow. Yeah, the salad is really good, isn't it? I love when they put the pepperoncinis in there and the purple onions.
Whenever I eat the salad there, my face gets really hot. 'Cause
Really?
it's like spicy, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. What? Bob is starting a syndicated radio show in January.
What?
Wow.
That's awesome.
Bob's going places.
Yeah. That's so cool, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Whoa, Hanley got the Pixel.
Oh, yeah? How is it? Did I see it charges for 7 hours in like 15 minutes or something?
Wow.
That's crazy.
Well, Kristen's boyfriend has it, and he loves it.
I can't wait for the day when phones will charge for like 3 days in like 5 minutes.
That would be amazing. But as much as you use them, 3-day charge would still only last 1 day.
I'll take a day.
Okay.
My battery is definitely going now.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
What? Lady Gaga said,
Oh, that's where the trumpet came from?
hey, Tony, draw me a tat.
I knew she had the trumpet, but I didn't know it was like drawn by Tony Bennett. That's so cool.
Wow. She also has a
That's
David Bowie.
She's got a lot.
Yeah, doesn't she have Aladdin Insane?
I think so.
Or Aladdin Insane?
It's okay.
I'm so stupid. I don't know. Jeff Probst and Julie Chen trade places?
No!
No.
No.
Jeff Probst is too classy and intelligent for those mofos on Big Brother.
Jeff Probst is like perfect for Survivor. He loves the game. He's like, hey!
Yeah.
I got nothing for you. It's great.
Yeah.
And Julie's all like, ghosts.
I cannot imagine Julie
Outside?
or yeah, or giving color commentary during the competitions.
No, definitely not.
No. What? Deadpool getting nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars?
What? Oh, Rob, did you enjoy Rogue One? Sarah needs a new book. What are we reading? I'm reading this.
I don't read. I'm illiterate. Alexander Hamilton.
We're waiting in the wings for you.
But are you throwing away your shot?
No.
Oh, David's house for Christmas, everybody.
Yay!
Oh, David has a godchild.
That's nice.
I never had one of those. Uh-oh, Roman hasn't heard from his dream college yet.
It's still early.
Oh.
It's okay.
Guys, guess what? Maddie only applied for one college.
That was risky.
And it was her dream college.
Yeah,
too.
but it was early decision. So if
Yeah.
I didn't get in, I could have still applied other places.
Yeah, or you could have went to community college.
Not that there's anything wrong with community college, but I had a
Not for
safety
your
school.
major.
I had a safety school
Yeah.
lined up.
What was it?
New Paltz. Remember?
Oh, right.
I'm
right,
like, if I don't get in, I can just go to New Paltz.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Oh, man.
You can't go higher than 7?
Oh, I just upgraded my phone today. What is it even up to?
I don't know. But I keep getting the messages on the desktops that they need to be
really?
upgraded.
I just saw that it was, like, available today. My phone usually is late for some reason.
What? The Sound of Music's on tomorrow night?
10.2, is that?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Yeah, I just did it today. There's new emojis. I don't have them up right now.
Oh, I thought
I'm
you
just
meant
saying, there's new emojis.
there's new app things.
Well, this TV thing is here. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, what is that?
I don't know.
I didn't upgrade
You
mine
should
yet.
upgrade.
Yeah.
The Videos app is now TV. Easily keep up with TV shows and discover new movies.
Wow.
On my phone, though? I ain't got room for that. I barely got room to take any more pictures.
Yeah, Julie didn't even know what was going on the finale. Or during any interviews. Bob wants a Skype chat for the syndicated show. You got it. Christmas
Absolutely.
carpool karaoke. I don't think we saw that, did we? We just watched the
No,
Bruno
we
Mars
saw the Bruno
one.
Mars one, and we saw Madonna one was really funny. and interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm not even like a huge Madonna fan,
No.
but I found it very interesting.
No, she toned it down a little bit. She was pretty quippy.
I liked when she stuck her leg out the window.
That was impressive.
Oh wait, no. Did she stick her leg out or her whole top?
I thought she stuck like
She
her
picked her
legs
leg
out.
up.
No, but that was separate.
Yeah. I don't know. It was funny though.
She's flexible.
It was interesting too hearing her stories about Michael Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, Marie. Good luck.
Yeah.
I think
We have not finished Christmas shopping.
No. We're getting close though.
We're behind again. We have been like inundated by stuff. My arm is really cold.
How do you think I feel? Actually, I'm not as cold as I was before.
I totally snot rocketed.
Ew!
Sorry. Sorry, cats and fox. Oh no!
What?
That's terrible.
The guy from Smash Mouth? That's so messed up.
The lead singer?
That's so messed up.
That's terrible, Bob. Wow.
That's upsetting.
It is upsetting, but you shouldn't let it upset you because the guy is obviously an a-hole.
And ignorant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tom Ford.
Yeah.
Also a fashion designer. He's creative.
Are you creative?
Yes. Are you creative?
Sometimes. Lamborghini? I don't think I want an expensive car.
I'm not into cars. I
No.
just want one that's gonna work. It looks kind of nice.
Doesn't break down.
Yeah.
Can carry my army of chihuahuas. Are we going to Granny's on Christmas? No. But we're going to be with Granny on Christmas. Oh no! A deer jumped on Andrew West's grandparents' bird feeder and broke it.
Oh my god.
Ooh, 50% off. I like the sound of that. I didn't realize that Madonna and Michael Jackson were a thing.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
I guess he got the wine trick from her.
What?
You know, loosen up a little bit. Give him some wine.
Oh. Pretty sure that's been a thing for like thousands of years.
Okay. Good one, Hanley.
Favorite holiday songs? Go.
Baby Christmas, please come home.
I was gonna say that too.
The George Michael one.
Oh, Last Christmas.
Yeah, I just heard that at ShopRite.
We
today.
like the Carpenters. We like
Any
all
Nutcracker
Michael
song.
Bublé, all Nutcracker. A lot of stuff. All the classics.
Yeah.
I like all the swinging Christmas kind of songs.
I like the Dirty Christmas song. Baby, no, wait. Not the It's Cold Outside one.
Not the date rape song.
No, the date rape.
Oh,
one.
okay. I enjoy that song, but the lyrics are a bit problematic.
Yeah. You have to remember it was written in a different time when that was okay.
Bob, I don't blame you.
Yeah. Perez.
Hello, welcome.
The Mistletones. What's that? I don't know. Boys to Men. That's a good one. Boys to Men. Yeah, Santa Baby. You should have heard Mark singing Santa Baby tonight but he's singing it in my hooker song, in my hooker
What?
voice. Santa Baby.
Oh my god. Is that why you guys always take forever when you go to ShopRite?
No. No. No, because he has to read every single freaking label of everything that we buy. Then we have to go to the mustard aisle and look at the mustards for a while. This is hurting. What is hurting? Oh, there's freaking like dog crumbs on this blanket.
Dog crumbs?
Oh my
What does
God.
that mean?
You know, like they had a little snack there or something, and
Oh,
there's like a part of a leaf here.
biscuit crumbs?
Yeah, biscuit crumbs.
Okay, that's a little different than dog crumbs.
Alec Baldwin's gonna be back as Trump tonight. I can only imagine.
Bye, Mary. Thanks for chatting with us.
Merry Christmas if we don't see you before Christmas.
Yes, have a great Christmas.
Just to re-announce, we're probably gonna do an early Christmas show, like a Thursday,
9 p.m. kind of thing.
Right.
But we'll tweet about it. I'll be home for Christmas. Yeah.
Granny loves
Emoji.
Silver Bells. Every time Granny hears Silver Bells, she goes, "That song was written about New York City
It's
because
about New York City.
because like that's where I lived, and that was the most wonderful place in the world. They know how to celebrate Christmas."
Oh, jeez.
Mm-hmm. Favorite Christmas movies next to A Christmas Story? Elf.
Jingle All the Way. Love Actually. I just saw this funny video my friend showed me yesterday. An accurate Keira Knightley impression. And she's like, wait, what's the line?
Something about her breasts.
No, there was something else.
Oh.
Something like, well, we don't know what love actually is, do we? Something like that. It was great.
No, I didn't get Mark saying Santa Baby. I don't think he'd go for that. Ooh, Blue Christmas. That's another good one.
Mm. Like the Elvis one.
Yeah, the Elvis one. Blue, blue,
Michael Bublé
blue,
did a good
blue
cover of that.
Christmas. Oh no, there was a spider on your head. A spider.
Ooh.
Fairy Tale of New York? I don't know that
Another
one. Yeah, Matthew's all for the Thursday shows. Me too. Oh, Elf is so good.
You've never seen Elf?
You
Yes,
should watch it
definitely
on
watch
TV
it.
this weekend.
You'll enjoy it.
I almost watched It's a Wonderful Life last night, but
Break him up.
it was an hour in when I noticed that it was
you
on.
have to watch it with me.
All right.
We have to watch it together.
Hey, is it on demand? Maybe we should
Maybe.
watch it tomorrow.
Maybe.
It should be on like Netflix or something, right?
We'll be able to find it somewhere.
Put the cookie down.
Oh, man.
Oh no, Troy's rushing the seasons again. He said before we know it, we'll be putting that pool back up.
What? Troy, don't get me so
never take it
excited.
down.
Don't get me excited for the pool yet.
Home Alone, Trains, Planes, and Automobiles.
Mm.
He's going the wrong way. You're gonna kill someone.
When that guy stopped us.
Yes. Roll it down. Roll it
What a
down.
freaking jerk.
You're going the wrong way. So I was like, is this the wrong way? Bye.
What? Matthew's never seen Elf either?
Oh,
you guys need to
wow.
watch Elf.
Sleigh ride.
Just hear those sleigh bells ringling, zing, zing, zingling too. That was my Elf Fitzgerald
Yeah.
impression.
What about your Remember the girl who was on My Super Sweet 16 or whatever, and she sang that
She
song?
was like,
At
everybody thinks that this huge like slide there, but
Yeah.
it's really not. It's
No.
just like a few notes.
Whoa, Andrew never saw Wonderful Life either.
What? I just saw it for the first time last year.
I was just gonna say National Lampoon's Christmas
I
Vacation.
don't like that movie
Why?
because of the dog. Isn't that the one with the dog?
No, that's the.
Oh. Well, I don't like the character Clark because of that.
Thank you for this meal for you.
Okay? He's a jerk.
He's real Romney.
He's a jerk.
He's a Romney. Well, how do you feel about something about Mary then when Puffy gets in
Yeah, I
the
don't
full
like
body
that.
cast?
I don't like that. And we were just watching Meet the Parents today for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm.
It must be a Ben Stiller thing because when Jinxie gets like missing and then he gets that other cat and spray paints the tail, like that's someone else's cat, you jerk.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
How the hell were you in London over Christmas time, but you didn't hear Fairy Tale of New York?
I don't know. I left like 2 weeks, no,
You were like
10 days before Christmas or so.
Yeah. You got back you got back the 10th or so.
I don't know. For some reason I was thinking 14th.
Maybe I don't know.
I don't know. It's
No.
really not that important.
The Holiday.
I've never seen that all the way through.
Kate Winslet.
Oh, but it's cold outside.
Yeah, Louis recognizes my New York attitude.
I've never seen Miracle on 44th Street.
It's 34th Street.
Oh, whatever. 44th Street is the Syracuse version.
Oh, okay. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays by NSYNC. Yeah. Oh, the cat dies in Christmas Vacation. What cat? I don't remember. Oh.
I don't know.
I remember the turkey deflated and some squirrel got messed up.
With the tree?
Mm-hmm.
Why do animals have to get hurt in
I don't
these
know.
movies? There's no need for that.
Hay way and some wigs. Dallas temperature dropped almost 50 degrees today from 74 to 27. You know what? 1 million people are going to get sick now.
Yeah.
He was screaming at the ducks in Friends. Ben Stiller.
I don't know.
You really suck when you have to resort to animal comedy. You need to listen to Christmas Fairy Tale of New York.
Noted.
Oh, the At Last song? That's an Etta James song, though.
At last.
Yeah, but they do it like At last.
Hold on, I have to pull this up.
What? Oh, okay.
Come on.
Oh, you gotta see A Christmas
Wait,
Story,
wait.
Norma Jean.
Here we go.
But you can't have love, actually.
But you can't have love, actually.
That's so
Mhm.
great. Oh, crap.
Gingerbread cookies. I'm gonna be making gingerbread whoopie pies this year, and
That's
I finally got my
exciting.
real vanilla beans. So it's gonna be all briars up in there with the vanilla bean speckles. That makes all the difference. I'm not a huge fan of freaking pfeffernusse, but when you put in real vanilla bean,
It is. It's great.
it's gonna be something special. I made it nice.
It's beautiful.
Ow, this thing is pinching me.
Dog crumbs! Hey, you dog crumb.
That's right, the cat chewed on the cords. And Lucy did that the day after we got
That
her.
was scary because, like, we heard her, like, and
Yeah.
then she went quiet, and I was just like, oh no.
No, we were like, no! When Candy jumped into the hot tub, we were all like, no! We saw her go into the tree, and she was all, and we were like, oh my god, we can't get her out. Okay, there's no room.
It was crazy. But Minnie, you're okay.
Yeah.
Christmas and celebrate for each.
It's about an Irish couple that met in New York.
Oh.
Why didn't they just go back to Ireland and meet there?
Funny how
Were they on
things work out.
vacation? What?
Yeah, the
Julianne
Huffs
Hough
are
is
going on
like,
tour again.
I'm done with you.
They're doing a tour.
All right. Yeah, whoopie pies. They do not, thankfully, look like Whoopi Goldberg. I'm making Whoopi Goldberg pies.
Go for it.
I was gonna make some mince pies, but like my mother talked me out of it. She's like, no one's gonna like it. You can make them for yourself, but you better not bring them on Christmas.
But Tanya Burr was making the mince pies.
I know.
People enjoyed them.
Because they're all British.
Yeah, I guess.
That's like a staple.
I gotta say, I'm enjoying the Tanya Burr
Right?
Vlogmas videos. Yeah,
Right.
I never watched her before, but
Yeah.
it's fun.
Should we go back and watch like 1 to 10?
We'll see.
All right.
We'll see.
Okay.
Oh, Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend.
Oh. When we were all Staten Island.
I vaguely remember, but I don't totally remember.
Diamonds are a girl. Oh, no. The one
No, that was
you,
Santa Baby.
Yeah, that's right.
I don't remember what the Diamonds video
That was you, baby.
for.
That was when we hit like 1,000 subscribers or something.
I just sang it?
Yeah.
Oh.
You had that fur coat on and you threw it off.
I did?
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's embarrassing.
And your hair was all curly.
That is embarrassing! Oh my god. Oh, that's embarrassing.
Gingerbread cookies. Gingerbread men who are
Oh,
posed
that's
as
fun.
ninjas.
That's cute.
Oh, didn't they have the ninja cookie cutters at like Target or something in the
Right.
past? Oh no, 31 degrees.
Mm.
Freezing rain. Rachel's trifle
Angry.
from Friends minus the meat.
Hey, wait.
No,
Why?
I'm not a big trifle fan. Or
Is that like a little pie kind of thing?
no, isn't
Hey,
that
wait,
like the
wait,
layers?
What are you
I don't know.
doing?
It's the layers.
What are you doing?
This is a fake tree. Yes, that's correct.
David loves
You
mince
would've
pie.
made an ad.
It's an Irish thing too. David's probably chowing down on the Maltesers right now.
You got some mulled wine with your mince pie.
That's right. Thanks for stopping by,
Bye,
Lady
Di.
Di.
Thanks for chatting with us.
Look at me. Outside.
We did not see the I Love Lucy Christmas yet on
We
demand.
will though.
It feels like I just
Oh.
watched last year's.
This
For
year
real.
flew by.
It really did. I don't think that 1,000 subs video is up because when
What are you
we
doing?
became
What are
partners,
you
we were afraid of copyright, so I think we took it
What are you
down.
doing? What are you doing?
I want to see the Great American Baking
I saw a
Show.
little bit of it, like when they were making that fancy bread.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that other one? I want to see the one where Duff is on. Is that like the worst cooks in America or something?
I'm not sure.
Is Maddie easy to shop for? Yes, because she does all the shopping.
I don't mind not being surprised on Christmas
Yeah.
because it just makes it so much easier for everyone
Mhm.
else.
Yeah.
So I will literally go to the store with the person and buy what I want and be like,
Mhm.
this is going to be my gift. Just wrap
Right.
it.
What?
Who's the hardest?
Kristen.
We,
Because we're like, what do you want? And she's just like, I don't know, whatever.
I'll get you
But
a
it's not
list.
whatever.
I'll get you a list next day.
Yeah.
What do you want? I don't know. I'll make you a list next day. I don't know. I'll make you a list next day.
Mhm.
I don't know. I'll make you a list. We are loving The Crown.
It's so good. It's so good. I haven't seen Royal Night Out yet, but I heard good things about it.
Mhm.
And I've also been told by one of my friends that I should watch The Royals on E, but I haven't had the chance yet. But I will. Don't worry, because I love The Royals.
Are Phoebe's grandma's chocolate chip cookies from Friends
How rude of
vegan?
No. Who are you? 'Cause
Who are
No.
you?
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Hi, Manish. How are you?
Manish, I am making a cookbook. I just don't know when.
We've just
been so busy.
Yeah.
Should you get Best Mom Ever or Queen Sarah?
I don't know. I feel like Queen Sarah is more trendy, but Best Mom Ever is forever.
It's forever. Manish just saw the Insta post.
Oh, show the tattoos.
Are y'all ready for this?
Oh!
Yay! 11:11, make a wish and blow on your dandelion.
Outside!
Oh, Mandy, stretchy!
Show yours.
Yay! Wee!
Ooh, that's good. You just leave it like that.
Wait! Siggy! Where are you going? Go.
Hi, Daniel. How are you?
Wow, 9
Wow.
years of being
Hi,
our
boys,
little
everybody
lamb.
ready?
That's amazing.
Ooh, I love that.
Camera, action. What?
Thank you,
This is
Manish.
the tape. Why? No, there's a movie later.
Bless you. Bless you. I don't find it annoying when people go on about how they love traveling because I love hearing about traveling. I love travel stories.
The toaster machine.
I don't mind when people go to touristy areas because when I travel, I do like to check out tourist things
Mm-hmm.
as well as like lesser known places. But I mean, I like being a tourist. It's fun. I like taking pictures.
Yeah, 3-tiered cookie sheets. Nice, Andrew.
Ooh.
Future move out pile. I gotta start piles for you guys for when you move out. Take this.
Yeah.
Foot cramps. Oh no.
That's not an age thing.
Okay, Sean. We didn't film any of the tattoo because you're not allowed to.
You don't like when you do that. It's like when somebody's standing over your shoulder while you're working. It's just
Yeah.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. And with the loud music with F-bombs and everything, it wouldn't have worked anyway.
Yeah.
Freezing rain and snow.
Oh no.
Just stay inside the house.
I think it's gonna be clear here tomorrow, right?
I don't know. I hope so. Oh no, you saw the Dance Wars videos? That
I
made me
forgot that
snot
was a
rocket again.
show.
Remember Bruno and Carrie Ann?
Yeah. It's gonna rain tomorrow for the beginning of the day.
Oh, really? Ah, I'm sorry you guys aren't boring. I just didn't sleep last night.
It's been a long week.
Any more detail on table liners?
No, we still don't know. I think it was just an accident. Or
I
a mistake, I
guess.
mean.
We should return them. Hey, that's like $120 worth of tablecloths. We could use that money in so many better ways than 10 tablecloths. I would catch Wendy Williams once in a while. I used to watch her when she was on a weekend show in New York when I was first married.
Who? I didn't hear who you
Wendy
said.
Williams.
Oh.
She used to be on the radio too.
What? A
Wow.
music fest? That's cool. That's very cool.
Wow. Watch them several times, Manish. Oh, wow. Tone down the accents when we come to Ireland.
I like tourists because I think it's nice that people want to see where, this.
If I hear people with British accents in the store,
I
I
get
will follow them
excited.
around.
I get excited when I hear other
I like it.
accents.
I thought they liked the New York accent over in the UK, and
They did in London.
Look out below!
you hardly have one.
I don't have a strong New York accent, no.
Oh!
Okay, Sean.
Ooh,
Yeah,
pineapple
Dancing with the
salsa.
Stars, but
Yeah,
it
they
was
had
ice
like a
skating.
Skating with the Stars show. I
They
remember
had two
that.
different ones. Yeah. TV over easy. Yes, I do. Wasn't that lady who was like she worked in like TV or something?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, she
They're going to
would do
Scarecrow.
like
Fix Sally hat.
a paragraph on
Countdown.
each show that she watched, pretty
Hmm.
much. I remember TV over easy.
Isn't it?
Whatever happened to her?
Good.
Oh,
God.
gingerbread cookies. Whitney Houston roasted Wendy Williams so hard. Yeah, I could see that. Yeah. Hot 103, KTU voice. I don't think Sean wants to be a ghost. We don't tell him what he's going to be for Halloween. He usually
he's
tells
in
us.
charge of that.
You never met an English person in your school?
Hello.
I think you should check out the Celebrity Apprentice. Why not?
It's up to you.
Best and worst present you've ever gotten?
Best present, Lulu. Worst present, I don't know. I don't hold on to that
No.
stuff.
Wow, they don't like Las Vegas girl? I don't know why. It's probably not so much where you're from. It's probably, maybe she's...
Not nice.
Yeah. Your New York accent's too much sometimes. Sometimes I feel the same way, Romero.
Soldier? Yeah. Chaperone?
Chaperone.
That's just you didn't know the word.
Yeah. That wasn't an accent
No.
thing. Oh. I love when things are passed down from family member to family member, Norma Jean. It's really special. I have some of my mother-in-law. I got some of my mother-in-law's ornaments from like the 40s, 50s.
They're beautiful.
They are beautiful. They're probably full of lead, but it's part of history. One was like 10 cents a box.
Yeah, it was crazy.
How do you even?
But it was more back then. 10 cents was
yeah.
more. So it's not like it was today's 10 cents.
What did Granny say? Granny said 4 of my friends or 3 of my friends would get together, and for 25 cents we'd get a piece of pie.
Oh, Granny.
And everybody would take a slice, and then everybody would take another slice. Yeah. Everybody would chip in. And to take the streetcar was like 5 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And we used to go to the movies. We used to go and sleep in there because it was air conditioned. Nobody ever locked their doors. Yeah, sure.
We would sleep on the fire escapes.
Or you'd see the people sleeping in the park on the bench.
Granny's got some great stories.
Yeah. Oh no, Cosby Show's coming back? I can't.
Probably.
I can't.
You mean just like reruns or what? Reruns, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have a life either, Roman. When I try and talk in a New York accent, I can't. I just have to be, So I could say coffee, but like later on when I'm not even thinking, I'll be like, hey, coffee.
Ugh.
Where's my coffee?
A gift card that said 50 on it. It was only 50 cents.
Oh no.
That's rough.
Stassi wants to do
Oh
Dancing with the
gosh.
Stars.
Oh my god.
No one else wants her to. You had people ask to guess where they're from based on their accents?
I feel like I'd be really good at that.
I think so. I think I would be really good too. We have Imagine Granny in those Life Care commercials. How come we don't have the same accent as Granny? Because Granny grew up in New York City for like, what, 60, 70 something
She
years?
lived there way longer.
I only lived in New York City for 27 years, and you lived there for 3 months.
The the Gillies update. We are almost done with season 2.
Yep.
Where are you in it, Bob?
David can never imagine his accent changing.
It could. I
If
mean,
he
it wouldn't
moved out
change
of-
completely, but
If you moved out of Ireland, it probably would, without you even realizing it. I remember the first time I spoke with you on the phone when you were abroad, and I was like, "Oh, aren't you cute with your little bit of a British accent?"
really?
Yeah.
Where
Hmm. You pick it up quickly.
Where do you think you're going?
Where do you think you're going?
Far, far, far away from you. Let's get back to you.
Sean,
Far, far away from you.
why?
Yeah, go down the main drag. We used to do that.
Nice.
Yeah, you could really buy some gas back in the day for like nothing.
Did you burp?
How burp.
Burp.
Oh, it gets bad around season 5.
Um,
Well, we still got a lot of good left then.
we love Kelly on that show, the mother.
Kelly Bishop.
The
Her
grandmother.
name on the show is Emily.
Emily. Favorite. She's snarky.
Hmm.
That's like Granny. I'm like the mom, a real jerk. And you are like Rory, comatose.
Oh, man. Seriously, we took my blood pressure yesterday.
Coma.
It was like
Coma
really
central.
low.
Yeah. Whoa, Bob's up to episode 16 on
Nice.
season 3.
Very good.
Sean is walking around reciting some TV shows.
You're going to. I.
Bruno was on Fuller House. Oh boy.
Oh.
Oh, no.
No, I didn't get to travel that much when I was there. I traveled a lot within the UK or within England, but I didn't get to fly anywhere.
You missed out on the Paris trip.
Yeah, and I didn't get to go to Scotland either. I wish I could.
Um,
Edinburgh would be awesome. Next time, definitely. I would love to see that city at
Mhm.
least.
do you still keep in touch with the abroad people?
Not as much recently. I'm still like friends with a lot of them. I have a lot of friends that
One of them
weren't.
is a lawyer now.
Yeah, she's very busy. I have a lot of friends that were not in my program, and I met like through the dance team, and we're all like Facebook friends and stuff, and you know, but we don't talk like all the time.
The British people.
Mhm.
Yeah. Emily's a stuck-up snob. That's the charm. I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
Your mom's sister moved over to their dad in New York when she was 14. When she got back, your mom and the other sister wouldn't let her out of the house till her accent went back to normal.
Damn.
Yeah, Richard
Yeah.
died. Whoa. Manish lived in
Oh, cool.
Edinburgh for a year.
It looks like a beautiful city.
Mm-hmm. Sriracha chili I'm so excited. I can't even. Sriracha chili kale chips. That sounds amazing.
Mhm.
I just got my big bottle of sriracha, and I had some this week on my rice and seaweed and everything. It was so good. Ah, Norma Jean is from Edinburgh.
Nice.
Ah, the castle. That is nice. Yeah, the channel.
I know. I could have like taken the train and gone to Paris, but I didn't have anyone to go with me,
And you don't
and I
speak
don't
French.
speak French, so I don't think that was a good idea.
Mm-hmm. Probably true.
Yeah.
Probably true.
I'll make it there one day.
Fair enough. Then you'll have to get a little France tattoo.
No. Why would I get a France tattoo?
I'm surprised you didn't get a Union Jack.
Mm,
Because you love it so.
yeah, I know. I don't have to get everything I love on my body.
I wish I could. That would be cool. It would be like a living Christmas tree.
I don't think I was ever in Croydon, no.
Australia looks amazing.
Yes.
I don't want to be on a plane for 14 hours, though.
It's a long flight. I just saw they're offering a nonstop from like London to Australia, and it's like 16 or 18 hours long.
Oh,
That's
no!
insane.
That's crazy. New York's the city that never sleeps.
In New York, you can be a new man. Just you wait.
Alexander Hamilton. Whoa, 3 minutes left, kids.
Ah,
I want to go to Europe, too.
yeah. Bye, Romero. Thanks for chatting with us.
Saturday Night Live is going to be delayed to do the Jets game.
Oh, really? Thanks, Jets.
Great.
Why are they playing on a Saturday?
I don't know. Another reason to hate football. Just kidding. Not really. Parisians, they may be able to speak English, but they won't be very nice.
That's awesome, David.
Wow. I bet he needs a new passport. He ran out of pages. Yeah, Norma Jean's son put a Scottish flag
Aw.
tat on his arm.
So he got a tattoo for your birthday.
Wow. Good night, Gregory. Andrew really likes his ketchup.
Aw, that's nice.
A pillow, ketchup on everything, Wi-Fi so he can watch us, and he's all set. That sounds just about perfect.
Daniel, you have a fear of planes?
Mm.
Oh,
I've never been on a plane.
it's really not that exciting.
I don't think I'm really afraid of it. I just haven't had the opportunity to.
Yeah, you haven't traveled.
No. Bye, Matthew.
Bye, Matt.
Thanks for chatting. I guess I should start my goodbyes. I
Yeah, I
only
think
have
so.
another minute. Guys, thank you so much for chatting with us tonight. We had a great time. I love connecting with you guys every week.
Yes.
It really is. It's the highlight
Highlight.
of my weekend. Yes, I think it's pretty much a done deal for Thursday night at 9.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Same place, different time, different day.
Yes, but we will definitely tweet about it
Yes.
to confirm.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to visit Ireland for sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. It's going to be about that time.
Don't
Have a
forget,
good night.
we love you too.
Yes. Enjoy your week. We will see you guys Thursday.
If we don't see you on Thursday, have a really great Christmas, and hopefully we'll be able to see you guys before New Year's.
Yep.
Yeah,
Bye,
G-Bombs.
Bye, you dog crumbs.
That's my new favorite now, dog crumbs. Hey, where'd those dog crumbs come from? What dog left them over here?
All right. Good night.
Good night. We love you. Merry Christmas. Have a great day. Night. Good night.